Welcome to this session on emerging trends in strategic management, part 2. So, in this session, we'll be discussing about supply chain management, organizational culture, knowledge management, corporate social responsibility, and total quality management. First of all, let's see what's supply chain management. So, what is a supply chain? Supply chain is the connected network of individuals, organizations, resources, activities, and technologies involved in the manufacture to sale of a product or service. It starts with the delivery of raw materials from a supplier to a manufacturer and ends with the delivery of the finished product or service to the end consumer. Now let's see what supply chain management is. Supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services and includes all processes that transform raw materials into final products. And it also involves handling of the entire production flow of the good or service to maximize its quality, delivery, customer experience, and also profitability. So it starts from raw materials, it reaches the supplier, and from the supplier, it gets manufactured, and from there, it's distributed to the retail location, which from where it will be reached with the it reaches to the customer. Next, let's see what is the importance of supply chain management. So, supply chain management boosts customer experience. As part of supply chain management, customer relationship management plays a bigger role. So, the organization collects feedback from the customers and they make improvements in the product to improvements in the product as demanded by the customer. So, it boosts the customer service. Another importance is that supply chain management helps in reducing operating cost. As it reduces the purchasing cost, it will also reduce the production cost and it will also decrease the total supply chain cost because it is as it will eliminate all the unwanted or the process which creates loss in the whole production process from acquiring the raw materials to delivering it to the final customer. Next, it improves financial position. So supply chain management helps to increase the profit leverage. It will also increase the cash flow and it will decrease the fixed assets. So by re-engineering and by making improvements in the supply chain management, the organizations can reduce their fixed assets by eliminating any unwanted process, and therefore it will increase the profitability of the product and profitability of the organization. Next, let's see what are the components of supply chain management. First component is planning. So basically planning means from the procurement of the raw materials to delivering it to the final customer. It requires highly profitable methods and efficient way of planning is highly important. So planning is an important component which will help to control the inventory and manufacturing process. Next, source. Now, sourcing helps to identify the vendors who will procure the goods and services uh, uh, to um, to meet the actual demand in the most economic and efficient way. Next component is make. So, making refers to the process of firm performing activities related to the transformation of raw materials to the final product, and it will include all the assembling, testing, and packing process. Next component is deliver. So in this component, what happens is that the final goods and services as demanded by the customers are delivered through the delivery channels of the company or the logistic services of the company. Next component is return. So return refers to the post-delivery process and customer support process that is associated with the product and the returned product. So that basically means the customer relationship management. So that's all about supply chain management. Now let's see what is organizational culture. So, organizational culture is a system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs which governs how people should behave in an organization. So, every organization develops and maintains a unique culture which provides guidelines and boundaries for the behavior of its members. And it's based on shared attitudes, beliefs, customs, and written or unwritten rules that have been developed over time and considered valid. So these shared values have a strong influence on the people in the organization, and they will dictate on how they should perform their job and how they should act in the organization. So, according to Richard Perrin, organizational culture is the sum of values and rituals which serve as a glue to integrate the members of the organization. Now, let's see what are the characteristics of organizational culture. First of all, stability. So, organizational culture is rule oriented and it's predictable and bureaucratic in nature. So, in the companies which have organizational culture are typically consistent, and they will produce predictable levels of output. Next, innovation. So, organizational culture encourages its employees to be innovative. They encourages innovations in their performances of their tasks. So, next characteristic is aggressiveness. So, in this characteristic, what it means is that companies with organizational culture they will outcast or they will completely try to ignore their competitors by healthy competitions. They will outperform their competitors at any cost. Next characteristic is attention to detail. So, companies with organizational cultures are highly focused on um, creating precise and accurate output. Next, teamwork. So, organizations with organizations with organizational culture helps to organize their work activities with teams rather than with the individuals. So, employees will have a positive relationship with their co-workers and managers. Another characteristic is emphasis on outcome. So, organizational culture emphasizes on creating accurate and precise results, and they are not focused on how and who is achieving. They are not focused on how the results are achieved. Next, let's see what are the types of organizational culture. First of all, power culture. So, in this type of organizational culture, power is held within few individuals, and this kind of organization culture will have particular rules and regulations. Another type of organizational culture is role culture. So, organizations with role culture are based on rules, and all the individuals in that organizations know what their responsibilities and roles are. Another type of organizational culture is task culture. So, task culture forms when a team is formed in an organization based on a particular task or a particular project. Next one is person culture. So in this type of organizational culture, all individuals are treated in a unique and in a fair manner. In this type of organization culture, it's just that type of organization is just a collection of individuals who happen to be working for the same organization. That's all about organizational culture. Now let's discuss about knowledge management. So, what is knowledge? Knowledge is an understanding of information that an organization or individual acquires through education and experience. And information is collected from data. Data is raw figures and facts. So, what is knowledge management? Knowledge management is the process by which an enterprise gathers, organizes, shares, and analyzes its knowledge in a way that is easily accessible to employees. It is a management technique to effectively manage the knowledge in the organization, and it also aims at improving organizational efficiency and save knowledge in an easily accessible manner within the organization. So now let's see what are the processes in knowledge management. First of all, knowledge gathering. So knowledge gathering basically means entering data into the system and pulling out various information and data from various resources to include in the knowledge management system. That is knowledge gathering. Another step is knowledge storage and organization. So this process includes cataloging and indexing of the contents in the knowledge management system. Next step is knowledge distribution. So by knowledge distribution, it helps the users to access the information through either training videos or through manuals or through frequently asked questions, etc. And the final step is knowledge use. So once the information is distributed, the users of this information must put it into action. That is the final process of knowledge management. Now let's see what are the pros and cons of knowledge management. So first of all, the merits of knowledge management: it saves time. As information is available at the fingertips of users, it saves time. Another one is fewer mistakes. There will be doubling, and the doubling of the information will be reduced through knowledge management, and users can share information and they can avoid mistakes by sharing this information. Another advantage is standardized process. So in a knowledge management system, this information information will be stored in a systematic manner, so it can prevent faults, and knowledge will be kept in a knowledge management will help the employees and the users of that particular organization to use it in efficient manner. That is standardized process. Now moving to the demerits of knowledge management. First of all, security. As with any information in a business system, users requires permissions and another security levels to ensure that the right information to be passed with the right user. So if there is any encryption problem, it will lead to security issues in the knowledge management system. Next, updating information. If the information in the knowledge management system is not updated, those information will be unreliable to use to put into action. Next, advancing technology. So as technology is advancing day by day, this knowledge management system should also be, or the knowledge or the information present in the system should also be always updated and they should keep up with the latest tools also. Next, let's see what's corporate social responsibility. So, corporate social responsibility refers to open and transparent business practices that are based on ethical values and respect for employees, communities, and environment. It's the company's sense of responsibility towards the community and environment. It's the continuing commitment by businesses to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of its stakeholders and society at large. So, companies implement CSR to maximize the company's overall impact on society and its stakeholders while considering the environment and sustainability. Now, let's see what are the responsibilities under corporate social responsibility. First of all, economic responsibility. So, this economic responsibility refers to the society's expectations of company producing products which are desired by the consumers, and they also sell it at reasonable prices. Another responsibility is legal responsibility. So, this responsibility refers to the society expecting the company to comply with the laws of the country. And the final responsibility is ethical responsibility. This refers to the responsibility that the company uh, conducts its affairs in a just and fair manner. Next, let's see what are the responsibilities of an organization towards different sections of society under corporate social responsibility. First of all, shareholders. So, shareholders are the real owners of a company. So, an organization must ensure the safety of the funds invested by them, and they must also ensure the effective utilization of these funds. And they also provide them the fair and reasonable returns for their investment, and they should also ensure their full participation in the management of the affairs of the organization. Another responsibility is towards the employees. Now, human resources are the main aspect or main element of any organization. They give their brain and their strengths for the success of that organization. So, organizations must ensure their job securities. They must maintain a cordial relationship with their employees, and they must also treat them fair and in a courteous manner, and they must provide fair opportunities for them to grow and them to promote and for their development, and they must also take necessary steps to ensure their social security. Another responsibility is towards the customers. So, customers are the kings in the market. So, they must ensure that the organization must ensure that they are providing quality products to the customer. They must ensure that the customer are known about the new products they are introducing, and they must also provide them the freedom to choose the products which their customers want, and they must avoid customer exploitation, and they must ensure the customer satisfaction with their products and services. Another responsibility is towards the community. So, business organizations operating in a society, so they must be responsible towards their community. Business organizations must introduce and maintain business policies and activities to promote the basic social values of the community. They must assist the local self-government, municipality, and corporation, and they must organize cultural and religious functions for the community. They must also help the community in opening schools, charitable institutions, dispensaries, etc. They must also refrain from committing antisocial business activities, and they must develop a good relationship with the community. Another responsibility is towards the government. So government has an important role in regulating and controlling the business activities or the businesses in their country. So an organization must comply with the laws of the government, and they should pay tax in time. They should not indulge in any malpractices like hoarding or black marketing to and create artificial shortage. And they mustn't allow any unfair trade practices. They must cooperate with the government to implement the social activities, and they can also invest in infrastructural bonds or in government bonds to boost the national to boost the national economy and for the development of the nation. So that's all about the corporate social responsibility. Now moving to total quality management. So total quality management is a management strategy aimed at embedding awareness of quality in all organizational process. It's a method by which management and employees become involved in the continuous improvement of production of goods and services. It requires the company to maintain its quality standard in all aspects of the business, and it's a long-term success strategy for any organization. Now let's see what are the features of total quality management. So TQM mainly focuses on, first of all, customer focus, and TQM mainly focuses on the customer. It's a customer centric strategy, and quality is defined as meeting the customer's expectations, beyond the customer's expectations. So companies need to take customer interviews, market surveys in order to understand what the customers want. Next, continuous improvement. So TQM focuses on continuous improvement. Companies must continually endeavor to be better through learning and problem solving, and quality improvement helps the organization to face challenges of the competitors and to meet the requirements of the customers. Next, employee empowerment. So TQM focuses on employee empowerment. It searches for the quality problems and correct them. And TQM also provides incentives to the employees for for identifying and solving these quality problems. And the employees are considered as vital element for achieving higher quality. Next, team approach. So another emphasis of TQM is on team approach. So what is that? It emphasizes on teamwork for solving many of the quality problems. So teams work regularly to correct these problems by by brainstorming or through discussions or any quality control tools. Another feature is employee involvement. So like for any organizations, employees are the most important resources. So what TQM does is that TQM emphasizes more on the employee involvement, and the employees from the management director to the junior clerk or worker is involved in the process of TQM, and they are given the responsibility, training and authority to measure and control the quality of the work they produce, and they work in teams to address the quality issues, etc. Next, management involvement. This management has an important role in implementing TQM in an organization. They are responsible for implementing the quality standards, and they are responsible for solving the quality problems and allocating the resources for solving these problems, and they also have an importance in minimizing the problems of communication between the organizational levels. Next, quality circle. So quality circle is a team of volunteer employees and their supervisors and they focuses on how to solve the quality problems. They follow preset processes for analyzing these problems and solving these problems. Next, the pros and cons of total quality management. So let's see what are the merits, the pros of total quality management. First of all, customer satisfaction. As TQM mainly focuses on improving its products and its services, it enables it increases the customer satisfaction level. So increasing the customer satisfaction level basically means it's the increase of its market share, and these existing customers can act as can act to bring the new customers for their products. Another process that quality performance. So quality performance, as TQM focuses on improving the performance of their employees and it will lead to it will create quality performance in the organization. It stresses on bringing improvements in the performance of employees. Therefore it will promote their work culture, and it will also helps in building effective teamwork, which will all lead to quality performance. Next, eliminates wastage. As TQM it's a program which will eliminate defects and waste. It can eliminate the weaknesses, and therefore it can eliminate the weaknesses in the business, and it will help to identify and solve the quality problems faced by the business. Next, the cons of total quality management. So implementing TQM is an expensive process. It will require additional training cost, team development cost, infrastructural improvement cost. So implementing TQM is an expensive process. Next, discourages creativity. So what TQS does is that it's focused more on standardization of any task or any job. So what happens is that it discourages creativity and innovation. So it discourages creativity and innovation. Another cons is that production disruption. So when TQM system is implemented in an organization, it requires training for the employees, which will disrupt the day-to-day activities of the company for the time it's being implemented. So that's all about emerging trends in strategic management. Thank you.